Hello Tarot Tubes. So a while back I did a video where I was matching decks with a book, and I thought, oh, this would be a great series to do, and turns out it's actually really difficult to sort of formulate what I want to say, although it's a habit, a thing that I do pretty frequently. But I decided to put in the effort to do it for this book, Archetypes. Oops, scoot it up a little bit, by Myss or Myss, I'm not sure. So she is a Hay House personality. It's pretty easy to find her website and find videos of her and watch her talk, listen to her talk if you're interested in this. So this deck came out first. This came out in, oh gosh, I had it at the top of my head, like early 2000s, and then the book came out like 2 years later, right? So this came out 10 years later. This came out 2003, and then the book was like 2010, 2013, somewhere in there. And then she says something about she wrote this book for one person. So I'm going to be honest and say I'm not completely sure what her vision was for this book. But she does talk about archetypes in the book, although she doesn't get anywhere close to the number of archetypes she has in her deck. So in her deck, she's got 74 and some blank cards that you could write on, which I did. And in the book, it's like about 12 or something. Let's see. No, not 12. 12 minus 2, 10. So, and then she's got a gallery in the back where she has a lot more. So this book, I'm not going to talk a whole lot about the book. I'll show you how she formats one of the archetypes. So let's see, let's get in a little bit closer so you can see the text without straining so much. And then we'll talk about the decks that I think tie in nicely with this book. All right, so she'll have sort of an overview of the archetype, what family it's in. So she has these different families that the archetypes are in. And, well, you could see the categories. You could, put it on pause and read about it if you like. Then she'll talk about each one of those things. She'll gets a few paragraphs, about a page worth of stuff. Now, I did this book with a book club. We were all not comfortable with this male counterpart version. We're not sure. Yeah, we were all uncomfortable with it. That's all I can say. Then there are behavior patterns. So she has a couple of charts that you can look at each archetype. And then some ideas about tapping into it, really letting it resonate with you, where you can gain power, where you lose power, and some checklists of things to do to really hone in on that archetype that you might be identifying with. Now, me personally, I didn't resonate with the fashionista archetype in here, but every other archetype in here I could say, oh yeah, that was me at a certain point of my life. Now I've been alive for 66 years, so whatever, but I kind of feel like I walked away from it feeling like, well, archetypes are things that cycle in and out of your life, right? So depending on how varied your lifestyle is, you could have a lot of different ones. All right, so here are the decks that I was looking at in conjunction with this book. The Kim Krans Wild Unknown Archetypes, of course, Carolyn Myss's archetype cards, and then this Ethony deck, the Modern Goddess Oracle, because she really focuses in on the archetypal energy of different goddesses, and then she just had straight up archetype cards in this deck, so I used that one. And then I like the Nick Bantock Archeo archetype cards. I think he has another deck out now, but I'm not sure. I should look into that because I do enjoy this deck. It's a decent size, 42 cards. And then the last deck that you might want to consider, and I've been talking about this deck an awful lot for the last couple of months because I'm into role-playing games and I'm just using this. So I'll be honest with you, I didn't really use this one a lot when I was reading the book as an archetype deck because I was busy using it for gaming, and I was having a hard time kind of flipping the switch, changing the channels on that with this deck. So you're not actually going to see it when I go through my cards, although there definitely are archetype cards in this deck that would go with these. So what I did is I took the archetype cards that corresponded with the different chapters in this book, and then I looked and saw to see if I could find those cards in other decks. So with the attribute, or the advocate, helps you to put compassion into action, or embracing negative causes, or committing to causes for personal gain, right? So there's your positive and your negative, or you could think you're upright and you're reversed for this. I didn't really see anything in any of the other decks that was used this kind of language, although there certainly are archetypes with different names. So this was the only card I had for that one. Now for the artist, you could come up with a lot of different cards from different decks, and maybe I will pull some Citadel ones for this one. Yes, I'll do that. So this is Carolyn Myss's card, or Myss. I'm so sorry, I don't know how to say it. Expressing a dimension of life that's just beyond the five senses, inspiring others to see life symbolically. And then there's the shadow, using the talent as an excuse to mistreat others, posing as a starving artist to elicit pity. She goes into some of this in the book. All right, so here are some cards. Let's see. Nope, that one goes with this. All right, so here are some cards from other decks. So there was this one from the Nick Bantock's The Poet. So the other decks, they tend to go into the specifics of the creative nature, how it's taking form, whereas, wait, here we go. This one was more of an umbrella term, not so specific. So, for example, in Kim Kranz's, you have the poet and you have the creator. And then in the modern goddess, we have the artist. All right, so let's just take a quick look in here, because this one also has creatives in it, but with specific fields. So let's see how quick we can go through this. Nope. Which, Twins, Taylor. You could look at the Taylor as an artist. That's possible. So the puppeteer would be, the painter, the musician, the dancer, not the necromancer, brawler, adventurer, walker, engines. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. You get the idea that, so these would all count as the artist, right? Gosh, I love this deck so much. I'm so tempted. The one in the octagon shape, the one that's, you know, sort of more of, yeah, like that kind of a card, is on sale right now. I just shouldn't spend the money, but man, is it tempting. Okay. Then we had the athlete, and I could not find this in any of the other decks, which was interesting to me. So here, this one sits by itself. Then we have the caregiver. So the caregiver card did not exist in this deck, but it was in the book. So I took one of the blank cards, I put a sticker on it that I thought, in a very general way, had some of that energy, and then I just wrote on keywords for the caregiver that I took from this book. So it was intriguing to me that she did not carry this, she did not have this energy in the deck. 10 years later she did. And then I had the midwife, which is not exactly right, but kinda from Nick Bantock's deck. And then I had the mother from the Modern Goddess deck, which we all think of that as the caregiver. And then in Kim Kranz's, we had several that might fall under in that rubric of the caregiver. We had the sustainer, the mother, the father. I think the father can be a caregiver, and the mentor, who can also be a caregiver. So that was what I had for that one. And here we go with the fashionista. Again, this card was not in the deck, but then it did appear in the book. So once again, I found a sticker and I wrote in some of the keywords. If you're curious about these stickers, I got them from this fabulous book. This is an awesome, 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 really cool sticker book. Put that to the side because that's not the point. The only card that I could find that worked as a fashionista was the Badass from the Modern Goddess Oracle. So I think of the Badass archetype is going to, you know, like dress and style themselves in a way that's going to communicate things to the world about who they are. All right, same thing with the intellectual in the book, not in the deck. So once again, I put in with my very human handwriting. I created a card for this one. Now, Nick Bantock did have an intellectual card. He calls it the Strategist, but I think that this image really communicates the intellectual. Then we had the Queen. The Queen? The Queen. All right, the Queen was in the deck and the book, and here she is. And let's find the Queen in the Citadel, because we do have a Queen in the Citadel. So let's find her. Take a pose so you can see another one. I don't know. I kind of feel like Liminal 11 should send me this deck in the other format because I promote it so much on my channel. Hello, Liminal 11. Are you watching? Not much chance of that. There she is. There's our Queen. All right, and here she is in the Kim Krantz deck, and here she is in the Modern Goddess Oracle, the Queen. All right, more coming. The Rebel. Now, I will say that there are a few things in the Citadel that could qualify as a Rebel archetype, but nothing called the Rebel. But we did have one that was literally called the Rebel in the Modern Goddess, and boy, does that tell you a story. So I like that one. I think it's a really good image for a Rebel. And then we had this one in the Nick Bantock, but it's not called the Rebel. He calls it Eccentric, but this is giving Rebel energy, I think, to use young language. We have a Seeker. Now this one, I kind of redid it. So it was in the book, it's a spiritual seeker. In the deck, there's just a seeker. So I kind of elaborated. So that meant I needed to add on some more keywords to make it work that way. So that's what I did. And let's see what I came up with. So in the Mick Bantock, I found the Healer, because she includes Healer. Carolyn Myss does under the Spiritual Seeker, so I did that. Then I had the Stair Climber. I love this one. Another Healer from Modern Goddess. And then I kind of like the idea of the Wanderer being in the Seeker, so I put that there. And also the Pilgrim seemed like a spiritual seeker, right? So that's Kim Krantz. Put that to the side. I'm going to have quite the mess to tidy up after this, right? Okay, and now my last example. So the Visionary, both in the deck and in the book. Here's that. And here's the Nick Bantock. I called this one the Inventor, or he calls this one the Inventor. I think it's the same energy. It's my interpretation. And the Illuminary. And then I thought the Shaman probably would be a visionary, especially in the journeying aspects of the Shaman. So that's it. That's what I came up with. It was really fun to do. I can't say that I loved the book, but I had an awful lot of fun playing with my decks and considering archetypes and doing polls and studying and using the cards both with intention and like pulling a card that I knew what it was and saying, well, you know, okay, how do I actuate this in my life, as well as just pulling them in a sort of divinatory way. So that's it. Look at all these cards. What a mess. What a beautiful, beautiful mess. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give me a like. And if you have any ideas of how you pair books and decks, I would love to hear about it. Just put it in the comments below. And thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye.